Wee Wonders!
Welcome, wonderful watchers, to Wee Wonders, a Wii game review series by me, Souldin of the Grin Brothers. This episode will cover the Wii game Bleach, Shattered Blade, a fighting game developed by Polygon Magic and published by Sega. Let's begin playing then. It's waggle time!
Story time!
The story of Bleach Shattered Blade, an original tale based on the manga and anime by Tite Kubo, assumes you have read up to manga chapter 180 and anime episode 63. If you're not familiar though, then the assortment of black-robed swordsmen, with the odd few exceptions, will be amusingly confusing given the lack of explanations. As this Wii exclusive storyline isn't very plot-heavy, all you really need to know is that the powerful Executioner's blade Sōkyoku got destroyed, and now for one reason or another, everyone is after its shards. Many characters are being tricked by an imposter into believing they need the shards to return to the human world, or save someone with their spiritual powers. Some are unfortunately stumbling upon them as others look to fight for them, and then there's Yoroichi, quickly realising there is something suspicious going on. A character needed to have some brain cells. Spoilers here, but regardless of the motive, 7 of the 8 playable fighters will eventually collect all the shards and face off against an originally designed villain one vanishes upon defeat.
I'm vanishing! I'm vanishing! Yeah!
I can't keep a straight face alone. I absolutely love it.
The story is bare bones, but serviceable, and slots in neatly between canonical Bleach events. The modes of characters make sense, and the few interactions we do get are entertaining. Everyone is always quick to resort to fighting in a fighting game, after all. Dialogue is hit or miss, with some fun banter marred by oddly quiet and emotionless narration. The biggest drawback, though, is that only 8 of the impressive 32 character roster has storylines to play through in the game's episode mode.
Instruction time!
Many characters wield swords, and this is a Wii exclusive, so you'll be unsurprised to hear that the controls are primarily waving the Wii remote. Holy heck, that's fast!
Oh, Jesus Christ, you move fast! Oh my God, you zoom!
This is...
Okay. You weren't kidding when, like...
As I was saying, you wave the Wii remote up and down for a chop attack, wave left or right for a slash attack, and then push the Wii remote forwards for a stab attack. These Wii motion actions form the basis for all attacks, as holding B while swinging performs one of 3 special attacks, and holding A while swinging performs one of 4 critical attacks. Up and down chop become 2 different attacks. The A or B button holds do switch smoothly from regular attacks to the different versions, but the simple swings are often misinterpreted, mainly between either chopping motion with the thrusting stab motion. Swinging to slash is a typically reliable input though. The 2 button on the remote is to pause, but all other control inputs are performed on the nunchuck. The control stick has your character move, and when holding down the C button allows you to perform a flash step. Run, basically. The Z button has you guard, and this game also employed some nunchuck motion controls, wherein shaking the nunchuck builds spiritual pressure, and performing a flick motion when you have full spiritual pressure allows you to activate the Bankai state. Depending on how fast you are shaking said nunchuck though, the game will likely misinterpret a flick motion the moment that gauge fills up. The game boasts simple controls that are easy to understand and easy to mess up. Thankfully, an attack will come out, but whether said attack will be particularly useful varies from character to character. At least the Wii remote swings and nunchuck shakes are satisfying to perform. The only other controls worth mentioning are those found in the Models and Voices mode, where the D-pad to swap costumes or select voice lines and the 1 button to reset the camera position finds a use. Said controls are displayed on screen, which is handy when you start so zoomed in.
Action time!
Chad punching and Orihime slapping aside, this Bleach game is a 1v1 3D weapons-based fighter, and fighting is what you'll be doing in episode mode, arcade mode, versus mode, and practice. The aim is to reduce your opponent's HP to 0, but simply waving the remote and basic attacking won't get you far. It does little damage and you'll quickly run out of stamina. The key lies more with your special moves, which can have a range of effects, from long-distance spells to healing powers, fancy strikes, teleportations, and Ichigo's iconic Getsuka Tensho. Alternatively, the key to victory can lay with your critical attacks, harder hitting and guard breaking chops, flat slashes, and stabs. Of course, your opponent can also perform the critical attacks, and if they collide with your own at the same time, you will enter the clash state. This Clash State is a 5-round game of rock, paper, scissors, with chop being slash, slash being stab, and stab being chop. Along with what action you make, you also have to time the performed action within the green gauge, so a bit of skill is involved in this luck-based minigame. The more wins you have, the more damage you'll deal when you win the clash, and likewise, more losses mean more damage you receive for a loss. Your other damage dealing means is with a Bankai, a state granting various buffs and access to powerful and cinematic Bankai attacks. You'll need a full Bankai gauge for this, which fills up naturally via hitting or being hit. You can also charge it manually, but this does leave you open. Activate your Bankai and you'll get a cool new weapon, or a giant creature with new special moves, or large energy shoulders that let you teleport super fast, or your character gets really pumped up. Like, yeah, they can do this! Regardless, all characters have a limited amount of time in their Bankai state, but enough time to try and land 2 Bankai attacks. The Bankai attack replaces one of the character's super moves, and it's different per character. Block attacks to avoid taking damage, run out of the way of unblockable moves, and beat your opponent first. Or last until the timer runs out with more HP than your opponent. That admittedly is not always an option. Regardless of the customization of round length or time limit, you won't be dishing out many combos. This fighting game is all about timing, knowing what moves each character has and knowing when to deploy them. For example, I found most characters' critical slashes to be awful, but Orihime's spinning T-pose worked wonders. With the right timing, Momo's chop and stab special projectiles could be harmoniously chained together, whilst Uryu's long-distance basic strikes were the best damage per stamina cost of any character. The large roster boasts many characters to unlock, each with distinctive moves that vary in quality, though not many modes to use these characters. Episode mode is your story mode, where you participate in a bunch of fights with one of 8 characters, with the odd cutscene along the way. Arcade mode is pretty much the same as episode mode, a series of back-to-back fights, but now you choose any of your unlocked characters. There's no story to these fights though. Versus is where you go for individual matches, whether it be against the CPU, against another player, or even watching 2 CPUs duke it out. It was entertaining to see how a hard mode Orihime mirror match would play out. Aside from being able to fight against a far more intelligent human player, as the CPU are not too challenging, the other difference is being able to select a stage. Many are simply day to night variations, as this was early on in the series. Choices were sparse. Training mode is self-explanatory. You can learn how to play the game from Yoruichi, practice with infinite HP against a CPU, or try and stab Con a bunch of times to make sure your remote is working. Yoruichi's tutorial is also a quick way to unlock her as a playable character. Achieving victory in episode and arcade mode battles earns you Con, which can be used to purchase items from Urahara's shop. This shop starts out with very few wares, but persistent usage of characters grants you the chance to buy music tracks, voice lines, screenshots, character models, and alternative costumes for battle. In the gallery mode, you can listen to the songs with neat referential titles, appreciate the 2D illustrations of episode without dialogue in the way, and spin around the nicely crafted in-game character models. The presentation may leave a lot to be desired, with its first-shopped anime screenshots, and the scenery of its fighting stages may be rather bland, but the character models are good. They pop out nicely, are clear with their attacks, show off expressions well in interactions, and have a pleasant bounce. Yes, bouncy energy. Most appreciated. Finally, there is the options mode, where you can adjust sound and difficulty. Easy mode CPU are pretty dull to compete with, and even normal mode isn't very challenging. That said, being able to set matches to 30 seconds is a welcome relief for the task of Hantaro's episode mode. A unique character, one heals his opponent with half his moves.
Ending time.
Waggle time is over, and the 2 questions left to answer are as follows. What are my overall thoughts on this game, and who do I recommend this game for? Bleach Shattered Blade feels cheaply made with its bare bones and limited story, as well as motion inputs that are easily muddled despite their simplicity. That said, it's also fun, with the rough elements often causing a laugh rather than frustration. Actions still work, and a wrong input is still a viable input, and the large and varied character roster boasts a wealth of unique inputs, creative fighting styles made despite some fighters' limited canon sources. As for who I would recommend this game for, Well, it's easy to pick up and play nature, makes it great for those both new and unfamiliar with fighting games. Wii Remote shakes and crazy fast strikes are instantly amusing, and its many character choices make it a good game for a group to entertain themselves. Lack of combos and timing emphasis also makes it a bit of an unconventional fighting game, so if you're looking for something different in the genre, then here is an anime-based option. And unsurprisingly, Bleach fans may like this Bleach game. Whether you choose to play the Wii wonder that is Bleach Shattered Blade is up to you, but either way, I hope you enjoyed this review, and thank you for watching.
It's so visual. Oh, cool! It changes colour with the 2-player, 1-player. Oh, that's cool. Just how far does it go?
Thank you for watching. Cheerio!